Autumn in New England. Seemingly overnight, vibrant colors set the once green forest aglow. It's at its most colorful now, although much quieter than in bird breeding season. Like coals in a fire, the forest begins to glow. Colors are vivid, but like migrating birds, will soon disappear. Autumn signals the animal world to prepare for what comes next. Just as humans make homes of wood and earth, so do beavers. Too soon, autumn fades into colder, less colorful days. The beaver lodge must be well insulated with mud from bottom to top, except for a small vent hole at the peak. The work of gathering and applying mud is shared by all family members and may take place over several weeks. At the same time, a winter food supply of branches must be collected and stored in the pond, adjacent to the lodge. This work, too, is shared by all. This beaver was born this spring. A sibling works on another sapling. This piece is on its way to the winter food cache. A little weary, it heads back uphill for more. What is the problem here? Something's going on behind that boulder. Oh, another sibling at work. Get it into the food cache, and then time for a rest. But then back to work. The food cache is coming along nicely. It's right alongside the lodge, where it will be accessible under the ice come winter. Small diameter branches and saplings are cut, hauled, and incorporated into the supply. With green plants less available now, bark is the primary food at this time of year. Check the bottom for sunken branches, then back uphill. Meanwhile, another is dredging up sunken branches to be brought to the food cache. This young beaver tries to submerge a log chunk in the food cache, but gives up when it floats back up. With all of its bark already eaten, the log is of no food value anyway. Many trips a day are made upslope. This puts the beavers at great risk of attack by predators. So they use their keen sense of smell to sniff for trouble. And if there's a whiff of trouble in the air, back in the water they go. Beavers excavate and widen canals around the perimeter of the pond by dredging up mud, giving them safe access to more food. The first skim of ice has formed. Youngster versus small tree. Although it's nearly completed the job, it tires of it and moves to an even smaller one, which it takes down in exactly 1 minute. Like eating an ear of corn, an adult feasts on bark. Lack of rain has made the water level low. Not a good situation with winter around the corner. But it looks like snow will come soon. Work continues day and night. These deer are cautious at the sound of a beaver gnawing on a tree. This tree is about to fall. The branches are cut off and hauled to the food cache. This black birch seems to be a long-term project that the adults work on. The pond is now more solidly frozen. All the branches have been cut from fallen trees and hauled to the food cache. But not all trees were taken down successfully. Some are hung up in other trees, so their branches remain inaccessible. The important question is the winter food cache adequate for survival and accessible under the ice? This ice cover is another new challenge for yearlings. Adults know how to deal with it, and youngsters learn from them. The yearling keeps trying. Another learns about thin ice. An adult works at keeping a hole open in the ice. The ice is thinner around warm tree trunks. Holes are important for access to oxygen. And escape from the ice-bound pond allows the family to still feed on bark. The first significant snowfall of winter. The family continues to eat bark, but now in snow. There are warm breaks and temporary thaws. There are fresh branches at the top of this oak, if they can just bring it down. They hear danger. Beavers slap their tails on water to warn others of danger, and yearlings seem to take great joy in practicing it. This one is about to scare his mom. There are still bright spots in the gray of winter. The food cache is being used, both below and above the ice. Winter moves along, and there's still work to be done. Those leaning trees beckon. Holes in the ice must be constantly maintained if the beavers are to get to them. Youngsters must explore their world and investigate different food sources. Acorns are a nutritious and welcomed option. Food is wherever you can find it. A young beaver ventures ashore. But it's not alone. All 5 family members are here. Keeping a breathing hole open in the ice is important. Otherwise, the only other access to oxygen is the vent at the top of the lodge. Hundreds of small fish crowd into the oxygenated water here. A beaver's movements can propel shiners onto the ice. Between December and May, adult beavers will mate, either in the water or in the lodge. If the pond is solidly frozen over, the family is sequestered under the ice and must rely on underwater access to the food cache for survival until winter relents. Despite winter, there still is active life in the forest. An interesting set of tracks in the snow. made by a ruffed grouse or partridge. He has his territory staked out and patiently waits for his mating season in spring. And this barred owl patiently waits for its next meal. March brings moderating weather and the expectation of warmer days. The first day of spring, the ice is gone. The warm sun feels good. The water level in the pond is back to normal, and wood frogs are calling. Life is a bit easier, and the youngsters can slap tails once again. They still haven't mastered quite everything. The return of turkey vultures and the calling of spring peepers verify that spring is here. The ospreys are back on their nest to start a new family. And many other birds are breaking the silence of winter woods. It's the start of mating season for most species, which means competition for territory and mates. Michael Jackson didn't invent the moon dance. This is the time of year when 2-year-old beavers often set out on their own. They leave behind the safety and security of an established home to start their own new families. If they don't take the initiative to leave, their parents may force them out in preparation to raise their next litter of young. With warmer spring days, the trilling of gray tree frogs is becoming the dominant sound. Tree swallows have returned from Florida and Central America. After a winter of eating mostly woody buds, the grouse can once again enjoy some green food. Muskrats can move about more readily now that ice is gone, and painted turtles again bask in the sun. Working on a nest cavity is a male yellow-bellied sapsucker. Sapsuckers often choose dead aspens with heart rot fungus that has softened the wood, making it easier to excavate. He leaves the nest to find a quick meal, then gets right back to work. He has to satisfy his mate. He lets her inspect the job. Looks okay so far. He's got other work to do too. He drills out rows of shallow holes in a maple tree a few yards away from the nest. Sapsuckers drink the sap that wells up in these holes. She inspects this work too, then helps herself to a drink of sweet sap. He continues making new holes alongside last year's rows. He gets energy from a drink of sap. Tree frogs are calling almost constantly now to attract mates. Breeding will take place in the water. Eggs will hatch into tadpoles, which will metamorphose into juvenile frogs. As adults, the frogs can change their color to blend with the surroundings. Those big toe pads are coated with sticky mucus that provides a secure grip on most any surface. They sit and wait for prey to show up, then pounce. A tent full of hairy tent caterpillars. Oh, these aren't quite as palatable. Tree frogs are not easy to spot, remaining hidden during the day. The spring days are getting warmer and longer. A tufted titmouse appropriates someone else's nest material. It's mating season for most birds, including the sapsuckers. Throughout the day and night, when not sleeping, beavers are either working or eating, with occasional periods of grooming. An aspen twig, one of their favorites. But what's just as good, aspen bark. It's not always easy for a youngster to get it off a log. Sometimes it requires a bit of gymnastics. Parents know the best garden spots. In the cover of brush, there's always someone feeding or fighting. A hairy woodpecker is foraging and flies up to the sapsucker nest tree. It gets a surprise when it looks in that hole. The male sapsucker chases it away. After the chase and a quick bath, he dries his feathers in the sun. In a spring shower, the rock tripe lichen that is dry, brittle, and drab gray becomes soft, pliable, and green as its inner layer of green algae absorbs water. The rain makes tiny insects easier to find. The urge to mate is strong. 3 males pursue a female mallard. And now the sapsuckers have young. They take turns tending the nestlings. He relieves her. She soon returns with food, in this case, ants. In a while, he brings a dragonfly. This goes on non-stop all day. Most of the food is first dipped in sugary sap before giving it to the young. Continuous feeding means the nest has to be frequently cleaned of waste, which is carried to a nearby tree for disposal. There are many such trips a day, followed immediately by more feeding. Ruby-throated hummingbirds follow sapsuckers to find their sapwell trees, where they can get both a drink of sap and the insects that get caught in it. Ants are a staple food item fed to the nestlings, but sapsuckers can readily catch flying insects on the wing as well. A young beaver heads for a patch of ferns. It was fed these in the lodge and still finds them tasty. And its mother is gathering ferns, a sure sign there may be new kits in the lodge. Something spooks Junior, and he scrambles for the water. Beavers can run surprisingly fast. False alarm. Mom is on her way to the lodge with the ferns and some other greens. Whoa, let me help you with that, Mom. Mom and the family head into the cattail marsh. They have work to do on its far side. Dad follows along. A beaver's nose, eyes, and ears all lie in one plane, which allows them to keep a low profile in the water, with all three senses working optimally. Along the way, they pass by some young muskrats. And meadow voles. The beavers have been cutting some aspen trees and dragging them to the outlet stream. They're building a series of small dams on the outlet stream. first things first, let's eat. The youngsters don't always get first choice. After lunch, it's time to work. The adults do the heavy work. And now, a snort of self-satisfaction. As always, youngsters learn from adults. And can now help maintain the dam. If you get a little mud up your nose, there's always a bit of time to frolic. The female sapsucker brings some food to the nestlings. And we're about to get our first glimpse at one of them. A downy woodpecker is foraging on a nearby stump. It's chased away by a chickadee. Because its nest is in one of the stump cavities. Get that waste out of there. A recently fledged barred owl watches with interest. But an angry robin doesn't want it around. Feeding the nestling sapsuckers gets more intense now. The young are ravenous. They call out constantly. Both parents hunt high and low for insects. They must hunt far and wide. Then one day, feeding slows way down. The young are being weaned. The time has come for them to fledge. One of the two nestlings has flown off out of sight. The other remains close to its mother for now. It lacks the red crown feathers, which will come when it molts in winter or next spring. And now there's a new addition to the beaver family. One new kit has left the lodge for its first look at the world. For now, it stays close to the lodge. Shrubby growth along shore attracts other wildlife. A yellow warbler can easily find insects here. Aphids tap into plant tissue to drink sap. Ants tend them for the sweet honeydew liquid they excrete and protect them from predators. Woolly aphids exude a white wax. In the alders along shore, woolly aphids have just begun producing that wax. Ants are tending them. As they produce more wax, clusters of them appear as a white mass. There's a tiny harvester butterfly here too, laying minuscule green eggs among the aphids. The nearly microscopic larva begins to chew its way out of the egg. It immediately heads for the aphids. Why? Because this is North America's only carnivorous butterfly. It eats the aphids. It fattens up and sheds its skin a few times as it grows. When it has gorged and grown sufficiently, it crawls onto a leaf to pupate. It anchors itself in place with silk. Shedding its final skin, it pupates in a chrysalis. In a few days, it emerges from the chrysalis completely transformed. This cycle may repeat once or twice before fall. There's a commotion in the brush. A Cooper's hawk has captured a bird. Mom is starting a new project. She's found a nice, tasty, big-tooth aspen. The new kit is getting around more now. One of its older siblings is having lunch. It's not in the mood for a woody meal yet. It heads for a softer meal. Ferns. Soon enough, in fall, it will have to switch to a woody diet. The pond is essential habitat for many, many animal and plant species. But eventually, the beavers will exhaust their food supply and will have to move. They'll follow waterways in search of a new home and may go their separate ways. They'll have to find food and shelter along the way, but that will be risky. They can't hitchhike, and roads are a deadly place to be. They'll seek out suitable habitat with plenty of food. Ideally, it will be a gentle stream in flat terrain, where a dam can spread the water flow to form a pond, and favored trees are plentiful. There will always be danger. And things they're just not quite sure of. But they'll persevere. With luck, there will be aspens, but if not, others will do. In time, their old home pond will drain and dry into a rich, lush meadow, a new home for a different suite of species. Eventually, it will become young forest again, maybe a new home for another beaver family. In the meantime, the beavers will search for their new, safe home site. And hopefully, well before autumn, they'll be ready for another winter.